Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Des here, of course. Hope you're having a great week. It's cracking on now, isn't it? Nearly Friday again. Nearly time to attack the weekend. But for now, got your questions. Live again, of course. Looking to answer those. Some a great variation of subjects today, to be honest. Some light-hearted questions, some a little bit more serious. Just what I've been asking for. Anything goes. They don't always have to be serious. Even what's your favourite? I've got a couple of those today, so really looking forward to getting into those. Just before I start on those, I'd just like to just tell you how it's going for me. I've had a busy day today. Lots of talking, been answering lots of questions. Just spent the last couple of hours out with another guy who's doing some great work towards mental health. So anyone who's interested in that side of things, please look up Enlighten the Shadows. It's another YouTube channel. I know there's a lot out there. There's a lot to look at, but we were chatting about how important it is for people to sort of start choosing to look at things that they want to look at rather than what's forced to put upon us through the TV and spending too much time doing things like that. Of course, I'm looking at self-improvement, so it's something I've really taken on board. So look up Rory and the guys. Like I say, they're doing some really good stuff around mental health, particularly men's mental health, really trying to get the message across. That we've been out for a run around the Trent. He interviewed me doing that. So the next week or so, that'll be up live. I'll be looking to share that. Quite daunting being on the other side of things, whilst I'm getting out of my comfort zone every day, doing DOdaily in the way I'm doing it, sort of being on the other side of things, telling people my story, letting people know my journey. It was really it was really good stuff, but it was really quite daunting as well. Hopefully it all works out and there's some good content to work off. So like I say, look out for that. Surprised I've got any voice left, but I'll give it a good go. Of course, at the end of last week's questions and answers, I asked the question, who's been your local heroes? Not that much to go at. I was looking for you guys just to sort of pinpoint on those who perhaps haven't got the recognition that they perhaps deserve. Of course, I spoke to Mark Dennison this week and I asked him the same question on the Sunday Social. If you missed that, do check it out. It's an excellent interview, and Mark was really honest about his approach to running and things during lockdown. But when I asked him the question about lockdown heroes, he says his family. It's quite a common theme, of course. We've all spent a lot more time around our family and people close to us and those who we sort of see a lot due to lockdown, due to bubbles and not being able to see too many. So Mark was really sort of impressed by his son and his daughter and doing things that they've had to do during lockdown. I mentioned Mark himself last week, someone I really sort of listened to and aspire to be like, even, through the way he speaks and passes the message across through his radio show. I love a bit of DJ Sanj on a Saturday, Radio 1 as well. Can't think of his name right now, but the DJ on there is really, really good as well. So they've been my heroes. Kay, as well as DOdaily, she's been listening to a podcast called Run Compod. She says it's a bit of light-hearted fun during lockdown, just something else to listen to while she's out and about running or doing work. It's something she's tuned into. All I was trying to do there, guys, was just, like I say, get a feel for what people have been up to, what people are really interested in. It's just praising those who perhaps don't get it very much, I could also say Gene Hunt. I've gone through the recent series of Life on Mars, and something I really enjoy, and Gene Hunt's a funny character. All those kind of things, just little things that keep you ticking over. It's not meant to be serious. It's not meant to be too much. As everything we do daily, I'm not looking to make it too serious or too full on, but try and get the message across of why these things are important. Anyway, on to the questions for today. like I say, good selection. Some familiar sort of viewers, some regulars who are posting in. I can't thank you enough for sticking with it, getting on board. Of course, it's been a tricky time for me and Kay, so getting the support we do, me in particular through this, getting that kind of support is fantastic, and I can only thank you enough for, like I say, sticking with it, keep commenting, keep sharing, keep liking, keep making nice comments, keep encouraging subscriptions. That's what it's all about. It takes a lot of time to build one of these, but believe me, I'm going to be here till I've got 100 subscribers, and then after that, I want 500 subscribers, and after that, I want 1,000. It's something I feel I can really develop through. So I'm not going anywhere. So whilst I've got you guys, at least I've got somebody to aim at. And of course, people who are popping in and out as and when they can. But the questions. First question today is from Dawn. She mentioned that she's heard that the Arsenal fans potentially being allowed back in the stadium in October on a sort of lottery basis, drawn out of a hat kind of thing. Does this have any bearing on running clubs and being able to meet up? The honest answer to this is I don't know. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we're looking to sort of potentially put 1 or 2 pilots in place. I'm looking at risk assessments and working to Sport England kind of regulations, whilst we're not sort of forced to do anything through what they say. I'd like to sort of follow suit with what other groups are doing in that sense. Safety is paramount, and whilst other groups might be meeting, I see it locally, they're meeting in slightly bigger numbers than they're supposed to, and people are getting together in slightly bigger numbers. That's people's choice. Through Do Running and through the running group, I want to make sure we're doing it properly. And I know an organisation like Sport England, whilst they're not governing what we do, will be sort of doing things properly, and it'll be a good base for us to work from. One of the local running groups, I've noticed, are getting quite a lot of stick. They've got different arms to what they do. And whilst I don't agree with all their sort of practices and principles, I feel it's really unfair for them to be getting that stick. It's a difficult situation to manage, and especially if you've got different groups and different arms to what you're doing, it's really tough that people are criticising, because you've got to make sure everybody's comfortable with what you're doing. So it's really important. I don't want to create a running group which I believe at the moment it's got a maximum of 12 people I can invite along. But that's exactly what it'll be. It'll be inviting people along. I want the thing about Do Running has always been people can come into the group whenever they feel like it. They can leave the group when they feel like it, and they can come back at a later date. If we've got 12 people and people start coming along, then it creates a bit of an issue. It creates exclusion. I spoke a lot last week about inclusivity, and it's one of my real sort of, it's a subject I can get on my soapbox a little bit about. So it's getting it right is important, and like I say, at the moment I'm still sticking to what Sport England is saying. Whether what's happening in football has a bearing on that, I've seen today that a couple of lower league football clubs, I actually went to a football game at the weekend, which was allowed a maximum of 300 people, and it was amazing to be back. Whilst it wasn't the team I support and it was a local side, it was amazing to be back in that environment. I really enjoyed it again. It's what I do. So I'm sure things will start sort of getting easier, and rules will start sort of getting less restrictive, and we'll be able to do these things. I'll keep an eye out, I promise you that. And I promise you that we'll get these groups back up and running as quickly as we can. Of course, in the meantime, we've got all the virtual and the solidarity stuff. Absolutely fantastic. The way people have stuck with it, the way people have used it to motivate themselves. So keep at that, and we'll keep working on getting it back to how it was. And do this as well afterwards. Keep up all that virtual stuff. The beauty of it now is people can join us from wherever they are. Just the guy I was speaking to before, Rory, and Light in the Shadows, he's going to spread the message as well. So it's really, really important just to keep getting that message out there, what we're all about and what we do, and being available to as many as possible. That inclusivity thing again. Sticking on the football theme, Ian asked a really personal question. I asked for these quick fire type questions. What's my favourite sport after football? Ian knows I love all sport. Most people who know me know I love all sport. I can watch anything, particularly if it's live. But I'd have to sort of go for cricket. I live literally within Freddie Flintoff's 6 from Trent Bridge, literally, for the time being. So I love nothing better than after, of course, of football, but after a long season of a long disappointing season watching Forest, as it usually is over the last 20 years, I'm always looking forward to the cricket season, getting inside Trent Bridge, getting the serenity of the cricket and the hot days. It's kind of a nice place for me to sort of get myself lost in as well, or meet friends, or whichever way I approach it. But I absolutely love that. I love the cricket season. I love just sitting there all day in the sun. A bit of a sun worshipper as well, so that's another reason. But definitely cricket, and again, this season it's been whipped away from us. There's been no cricket, what we've been able to watch in Trent Bridge. So all that sort of time I used to take away, I've had to find other things to do, lots of walking, of course, lots of running and things like that. So my answer to that, Ian, is definitely cricket. I'm looking forward to getting back in the City Ground, first of all, but also back into the world famous Trent Bridge. Really sort of looking forward to that. A running related question from Kay. Kay says, do I prefer hill training or speed training? Kay's really back into running at the moment. She's really on it, getting really quick again, putting some real great effort in, particularly in the Wednesday workout challenges. She's made a real go of those and really inspired herself to keep going, running a lot more often and starting to get great results off the back of it. My answer to that, I'm sure Kay knows it already, but my answer is I love running on the hills. At the moment, I've not been doing much of that because I've been, for the first time ever really, and I shouldn't say that, but been trying to manage my injury properly, trying to do things properly right now. So it's important for me to try and manage the injury as well. So I've been using a lot of the smooth, flat river routes, just easy to sort of get around and nice sort of smooth surfaces, so I don't do myself too much damage. But when I'm really on it, I love getting into the hills. When I started running out, I started in an hilly area, hard to say, hilly area. And then I moved to another hilly area, and then I moved to where I am now, which is actually quite flat. But I absolutely love sort of trudging up the hills. It's the hard ones that make us better runners, and it's something I really enjoy. All that said, speed training is good as well, don't get me wrong. If that's what you really, really enjoy doing, getting out there, getting out for a real sort of intensive speed session. We've done them before through Do Running, the interval sessions, and like the hill sessions we ran at a similar time. Really good take up and really good feeling. They feel like a good workout if you choose one of those in particular. I like to sort of put the hills into my longer runs, and forget about the time a little bit. And then when it comes to perhaps a 5K or a 10K race, you get all that reward in terms of the effort you've put in, sort of comes back to you in terms of PBs and time being taken off. So they've both got sort of equal sort of footing, but a preference for me is just getting up those hills. I like sort of, like I say, trudging up them, getting to the top, that sort of epic rocky feeling when you get there, It's hard work, but it's rewarding as well. So really, really enjoy that. On a slightly more serious note, obviously this week I've been talking a lot about sort of, without sort of saying exactly what they are, personal issues that have affected sort of myself and Kay quite a lot, and how we're dealing with it and how we're managing to stay positive. John asked the question, how how am I managing to convey a positive message when things are transpiring against us a little bit? He says when he was in a similar situation that he didn't quite cope so well. Well, that's completely understandable. You know, not everybody deals with everything the same. Knowing John, he's a warrior. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. But how I'm managing to do it is by focusing on all the other things I have to do. I've said it all the way through lockdown about setting myself little challenges, throwing myself into the community. I mentioned things like the solidarity session. People sometimes not forget, but don't understand why I insist on doing it at 6:30. You know, people might go at 6:10 or 7:30, which is absolutely fine. The purpose here is to get people doing activity, but it's doing it at 6:30 to feel like I'm doing something, to feel like I'm achieving something, to feel like I'm part of that community. Do you know? And then the personal challenges as well, the non-drinking. Day 79 now, by the way, ticking over, reminding you a bit more often as it does. But those little challenges, getting up early, you know, feeling like I've done something before breakfast, you know, it's giving me that positivity. And whilst it doesn't take all those things away, it helps, it really helps. And I suppose a little bit comes down to experience as well. Like everybody, I've had issues in the past. Everybody's had bad times. Anybody who says there hasn't is a liar. But anyone who's felt low and felt rubbish about a situation, you just have to, you realise, and I was saying this to Rory on the interview this afternoon, that he asked me to sort of identify, he asked me to say what I would say to anybody who feels like they was really struggling. And at the end of the day, all I said was, just stick in there, go to bed, you know, get up. If nothing else has happened, you're in for a better day. If nothing happens that day, you wake up again the next day and it's slightly better. It's all quite deep stuff, but it all kind of means something. I got to a situation a few years ago before I had running where I felt like I had not a great deal to look forward to. Whilst things are really conspiring now, similar stuff was happening then as well. But I didn't have running, I didn't have this amazing community, I didn't have people around me. And sometimes people take that a little bit for granted, you know. It's really easy to do that. It's really easy to take for granted what others do for you, what others can do for you, you know. People who are out there to listen and talk about their experience, you know, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. It's easy to take that a little bit for granted, and I talk a lot about listening to other people, and the point I listen to watch YouTube and get myself into that rather than something forced on me on the television is because I'm making a point then to watch it. I don't listen to everything that's said to me, but it's important to take the parts that are relevant. Do you know? And some of that, it might be a case of generally successful people get up early. I'm not saying I'm going to be particularly successful for getting up early, but I've never tried that approach before. So I'm just trying something different, something I'm not used to. And it makes me feel good. It gives me a great start to the day. So when a major problem comes along, it doesn't feel as bad as it should do. I mentioned it's about 2 months ago now, I had a little bit of a blip for about 7 to 10 days where I felt absolutely rubbish. I don't know why. The things that was happening aren't as bad as what's happening now. I mentioned this yesterday, and I really struggled for a few weeks. And then I put some things in place. The not drinking, you know, I started to think about some of these other challenges I've set myself, getting back into the running, you know, getting up early. And once I got into those, everything started picking up. And then I was riding this wave of positivity. I can't help what's happening right now, and I've said a lot for all of this, is don't let things define you can't control. And whilst they're really, really upsetting, whilst they're really, really difficult, and we're not quite sure of the outcome, which is always a worrying situation, we can't be defined by that. We've got to just keep, like running, it's one step in front of the other. You know, lots of people are there to support and say if they can do anything. Nobody. The reality is nobody can really do anything apart from the situation. For the situation, sorry, apart from just be a without looking for sympathy, being a sympathetic ear, it's tough. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a case of putting one foot in front of the other, dealing with one thing at a time and getting through it, using activity. The whole point of DOdaily, Do Running, and the community is to use each other to sort of motivate and inspire each other. And whilst, if I can stay strong for someone else, then I'm definitely going to do that. I got a message from a friend yesterday who picked up on sort of that, without being negative about it, that negative vibe of things aren't quite working out. And a friend messaged me to say, hope you're okay, and told me some harsh realities of her own sort of situation and how they're not having a particularly good time today, at the moment, sorry. And I messaged back and said, well, we're here to listen, myself and Kay, and without any pressure. And this person said to me, well, you've got your own problems, but that's not the point, is it? The point is, we're still human beings. Whatever's happening to us, we've got to keep moving forward. There's people who've had it a lot worse than me. There's lots of situations out there, even during the COVID, lots of people have lost lives, lost loved ones. So it's really, it's about putting it in perspective. And yes, it's tough. It's all at the same time. But I'm still there for anybody, talking to people today, still working hard. That's the only way I know how to get through it. It's the only way that's worked in the past, and it's the only way I can kind of take it forward and work from there. So that's my answer to that, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, we still have our moments. We still struggle. What me and Kev have got is a really strong relationship, and we work really well together and see things in similar light, and without sort of criticising anybody in a relationship I've been with in the past, it's not always been the case. You've got to be on the same page if you're that close together, and whilst we are, we can kind of tackle anything together. And whilst the problem half is not a problem solved, it gives you that sort of sounding board as well to work off each other and stay as strong as possible. So that's how we deal with it. On the back of that, Ian asked me a question, where do you go when you need to get away from everything? And I think what I'm going to do with that, Ian, I really like that question, but of course on a Friday I try to go to a different place, somewhere I've not been to sort of before, and do daily, wake up to walk, attack the day. So I'm going to leave that question till tomorrow's episode, because the place I want to go tomorrow is somewhere I've been thinking about for a while, and it's a new place. I felt not new, but I found it quite recently. Somewhere where I really enjoy going and just collecting my thoughts and spending 5 or 10 minutes there. So I will leave that as a bit of a cliffhanger for tomorrow's episode. So tune into that at breakfast. Of course, it'll be on after 7. I'll be waking up to walk and give it a really go, and really trying to put everything into context. Got quite deep there for 5 minutes, and the week's been quite a tough one, as I've touched on a lot. But what the point of a Friday is to try and put whatever's happened into context. Give it a real good go. I've actually got a little break coming up next week. I've got the opportunity to go away for a few days, so I'm really looking forward to that. Plenty of nice walking routes and running routes, so I'll be able to bring you a DOdaily from different locations. So something I'm really looking forward to. But for tomorrow, of course, what I can do is answer that question. So leave it with you overnight and leave it with you to ponder. I'm really looking forward to getting there as well. Hopefully the weather's great, because there's an amazing view. So there's a bit of a clue there for you. And to finish, of course, I always throw a question back. And if you can, guys, really do comment. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to think too much about these questions I throw back. It's just a way of getting a gauge of what people are feeling and trying to stay positive. And I was thinking whilst I was doing the interview with the other guy this afternoon about like what he does, and he does it really well. And I'm really proud of the fact that I'm doing what I do. And while some people perhaps misunderstand what we're trying to do and how how they should take it on board, the information being passed across. I'm actually really, really proud of what I'm doing. You know, I spoke about this time 5 years ago when I was in this in a bit of a hole, to be honest. This is where all my motivation comes from, and while sometimes people might question that, you know, whenever you do something different, unfortunately, people have always got something to say, but can't do much about that. But what I can do is just remember why I do it, and that was the perfect reminder of why I do some things. And the guy said to me, "You must be really proud of what you've done," and of course I am. You know, we've built a legacy on the back of certain things. You know, I spoke about a guy who unfortunately lost his battle with mental health, and how that's driven me to try and do the best I can through the running club to create community and all those things. And like I say, whilst people question your motive sometimes, it's just a case of keep working at it and just be proud of yourself and keep working at the things you enjoy. You know, I see even during this conversation, my phone's flashing up with WhatsApp messages of people doing great things in running and things like that. So I'm really, really proud to do daily and do running as well. But the point was, in lockdown, what my question to you is, what have you been really proud of? You know, whether it's yourself or somebody else, what action have you taken? And through all this adverse situation, you know, all the negativity that comes with it, what have you done? And you can sit back and go, that's really mentioning it as well, is because tomorrow, wake up to walk. And another reason to go to this location, which is one of my favourites, is it's actually the 100th episode. So whilst I don't feel like I'm getting any better at this, I've had 100 goes at it now, and I do know since episode 1, looking back on that, I've actually come on leaps and bounds, and I'm really proud of what I'm doing. So, like I say, what are you really proud of? What action have you taken? What positive action have you taken? Please try and answer it. Like I say, it doesn't have to be anything. It might be a little bit more reading. It might be doing a bit more walking. It might be getting on the bike. You know, anything. It might be getting into that box set you've been meaning to watch. Doesn't have to be sort of bearing all and letting everybody know what you're about. So it's just something to get involved in. Keep looking at the Instagram at DOdaily 2020. Of course, I post a bit of a preview every morning about what we're looking for, what kind of content we're driving towards. Really enjoy doing that. Just want to thank everybody for the support this week. It's been absolutely fantastic. I know there's people around us we can that will at least try to understand the situation and try to understand where I'm coming from with this. So thanks for that. Keep liking and sharing. It's really, really important. People have said to me, I've not done it, not asked for it enough. You know, when you're starting something like this, it takes a long, long time to build an audience and build viewers. And I'm really trying to put a push on that now. I'm trying to get up to that 100 subscribers. I think it's 66. So thank you to every one of those. But keep doing what you do. One guy said this week, it takes 10 seconds. Does it even take that long to share and like it? You know, watch it again. You know, take from it what you can. And keep tuning in. I'll keep until the morning. The location, just doing it.